Okay, maybe you want to start.
Okay. Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to Sir Hisham and my fellow classmates. Thank you for being here today. So today our group will be presenting on assumption of media. Before that, these are parts of our presentations. Okay, the first one is three assumptions concerning media, how media persuade us, and the sensory experience of media. Next. Okay, first thing first, what is media? So the product of the interaction between media, content and audience is called media. The term refers to web of sources, channels and content, which includes broadcast signals, media, personalities, as well as the words and image of the media content. So this is important because people tend to view media as faceless, nameless entities that create programming based on economic or political factors. We must keep in mind that it is individuals working within organizations responding to corporate pressure who makes decisions concerning media content. So on the other hand, media audience refers to a group of people who can potentially receive media content as they read or consume any media text. For example, radio listeners, television viewers, newspaper and magazine readers. So why are audience important? Without audience, there will be no media. Media organization produce media text to make profit. So no audience means no profit. Okay, next. There are three assumptions concerning media, and I, Faten and Arissa, Binti and Hisham, 051498, will start with the first assumption.
Amnie, can you please enlarge the screen? Make it full screen. Okay.
Okay, so the first one is media persuade us. Next. Okay, media sources, channels and contents persuade us by getting knowledge about product and people. So we purchase daily consumer goods and services based on the words and image selected for us by advertising professionals. So as from what we can see here, this is the commercial ads of McDonald's, which feature the scrumptious and favorite, the ayam goreng Maggi. The brand have made waves on social media. So the fried chicken was sold out nationwide due to their brilliant marketing ads. So I'm sorry because due to the technical problem, so I can't really, there's no sound of it. Okay, so let me give you another familiar scenario. So have you ever go to grocery store or maybe drugstore? I know girls can relate to this. So we plan to buy just like one particular item but ended with 5 or 6. Or maybe when you want to do shopping online, the free shipping makes spending 100 ringgit and more seems like a good idea. So if your answer is yes, then you are actually have been persuaded by the power of media. So we hate to admit it, but we actually are affected by media in various ways, such as music or even when you read anything on social media. So we constantly exposed to the persuasive appeals of sources, channels, and content. So do you still remember about the persuasive appeal? Next. Okay. So the ethos, pathos, and logos. So being able to successfully incorporate them into your own argument will make you a more effective writer, which is someone who makes a written or oral argument. For example, we select political leaders based on the impression we get of them through various media channels. So the media has altered the way government institutions operate, the way political leaders communicate, and the manner in which elections are contested. So political figure's image is created to maximize his or her media appeal. My point here is political leaders do not operate in a vacuum, but in a mediatized environment where media are citizens' principles. source of political information. Voters do hardly meet political leaders in real life, right? So they form their opinions mostly based on the information they get from newspaper, television, and internet. So I guess that's all from my part. So I'll pass the presentation to the next presenter. Thank you. Really, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Faten. Good day, everyone. I am Najwa Binti Mohamad Ikhwan, matrix number 051611, and I will continue with the second assumption concerning media, which is media sources, channels, and content present as with mediated reality. So, according to New Informs, the pictures we have in our head of the world, of people, and of operations are not usually based on our real experiences with them. Instead, these pictures are formed through interaction with the media image, as media is very powerful in shaping our responses to image of people, places, and things. So this idea was also formalized by a sociologist and a media theory, George Gardner, and he argued that the media's portrayal of reality affected us all, particularly if we depend too much on media. Okay? He claims two important things regarding mediated reality, which are: first one is mediated reality is often a stable and repetitive image and ideologies that create a deep sense of common shared reality. And the second one is mediated reality is often wrong. So to give you an example, the American media often portrays Muslim as violent, and this kind of portrayals fuel the anti-Muslim hostility and policies. Because not many of them personally know Muslim, so the media depiction of Muslims as terrorists are especially important, which lead them to believe that all Muslims are actually terrorists. However, for those who knows Muslim personally, they were less likely to have this anti-Muslim attitude as compared to those who depend on the media alone for the information. So basically, you can say that if someone have a personal experiences with an issue or a group of people, they won't be as swayed by the media's representation. Besides, Gardner and his team also conducted an analysis comparing television violence with the real-world crime statistics, and it was later proved that the television reality was more violent than real life. Okay? The third assumption about media is media sources are profit-making business. So the function of media is to attract audiences for advertisers, and it is impossible to separate media sources and content from the economic system in which they operate. Everything that we see or we read from the media are products designed to attract the audiences. So sometimes we do not always receive the most objective coverage of a particular issue. Instead, the audiences are held hostage to what media sources think will help their product, and profit orientation affects every decision that media companies make. So, for example, the advertisement of products that we see in the media, like in the television or in the radio, companies that sell their products will always claim only the good things about their products, right? Like the skincare product, for example, they will claim that their product will basically brighten your skin or giving you a flawless skin, while in fact their products may contain harmful chemicals that will affect your health. So some audience that has been persuaded by this kind of advertisement will continue to purchase the product without doing any research beforehand. And later on, when something happens to them, they will likely regretting their action. So this is why we should not really believe in everything that media shows us. We must do research. So I think that is all from me. I'll pass to Amnie.
Okay, thank you, Ili. I hope you all can hear me well. Okay, wait a minute. Okay. So it's my turn now to present on how media persuade us. Okay, so there are three ways on how media persuade us, which the first is channel, second gatekeeper, and third is advocate. Okay, so first we go to channel. So I would like to ask, what is channel? Can anyone answer that?
A medium for us to
Medium.
transfer communication.
Okay, yes, correct. So yeah, it's not really there, but yeah, you understand what is channel, right? Okay, so I will explain now. Okay, channel. Channel means it refers to the specific medium by which an advertiser's message is conveyed to its intended audience. So examples like we all know the examples of channel: newspapers, magazines, billboards, radio, and television stations. So here, according to Herbert Marshall McLuhan, who was a Canadian philosopher, he said that every form of media content persuades us to adopt a particular way of seeing that content. So what highlighted here is particular way. So the particular way here is like news. News comes in narrative form, and we as audience expect reporters to tell us stories. And for posters, it is a medium which contains facts. So we as readers expect to read text accompanied with graphics. So advertising is different from news and posters, which these two contain facts. For advertising, it being broadcasted without modification to be disseminated to its viewers, but only when the advertisement fails to comply with community standard or decency, then there will be adjustment to it as it didn't bring the impact that they expected. Okay, so that's channel. And next we're moving on to gatekeeper. So here I give you two definitions, which gatekeeper and gatekeeping. So first we go to gatekeeper. According to dictionary.com, gatekeeper means a person in charge of a gate, usually to identify, count, supervise, etc. the traffic that flows through it. And the second definition is a person or thing that controls access as to information, often acting as an arbiter of quality or legitimacy. So for gatekeeping, it means the process through which information is filtered for dissemination, whether for publication, broadcasting, the internet, or some other mode of communication. And it is the same as media, which media does not only broadcast the message, but they also interpret the message. So there are three examples here that I give you for gatekeeping, but the most best example of gatekeeping is news. Okay, why I'm saying so? Because news media cannot possibly show us everything that happens each day. Editors of news must determine which of the day events should receive public attention, which means they prioritizing events for the audience. So I believe all of you, most of us here, I have seen a Korean drama entitled Pinocchio, which it is based on things about news and everything, right? So one scene I would like to share here is that it's said in one of the scenes that most sensational story will be prioritized to be broadcast in order to attract audience and also to escalate their viewership rating. Okay, so that's for news. And for journalists, they produce content and present the content in a way that gives meaning to it. For entertainment, they always attempt to attract audiences in order to sell advertising, which they create a particular type of content. So here, I would like to highlight sell advertising. So like Ili has said, media sources are profit-making businesses. So one of the way on how people want to generate larger audience in media or entertainment program is by using sex sales. So what is sex sales? It is the use of sex appeal in advertising to sell a particular product or service. So you can see the examples here. So I would like to share a quote by Tom Reichert, which he was a professor at University of Georgia, Brady College of Journalism and Mass Communication, once said that advertisers use sex because it can be very effective. So like you see here, examples of Justin Bieber and Calvin Klein. Yeah, I don't want to elaborate more on this. You can just see the examples if you have seen the examples that I have given here. Okay, so moving on. So the last one is advocate. So advocate means a person who publicly supports or recommends a particular cause or policy. And through advocate, the media source generates persuasive messages with the stated intent of persuading audience. Some examples of advocate are editorials and columnists. So for editorials, it gives news editors a chance to influence public opinion by presenting arguments for or against a particular issue. And for columnists, they use their space to influence attitudes and beliefs of their viewers. So these examples you can see here, that like TV shows, not only in Malaysia but also in overseas. Like TV, like Majalah Tiga here, I want to share with you. It is a news magazine television program which it is compared with different issues or stories that happen in our country, like natural disasters, crimes, and its purpose is to inform audiences, and it also intended to create a view in ourselves regarding the particular issue that they are broadcasting. Okay, so that's all from me. If you have questions, you ask that at the end of our presentation. Now I'll pass the floor to Farihah.
Okay, thank you, Amnie. Assalamualaikum. I am Nurul Farihah binti Rosli 049832, and I will be presenting on the sensory experience of media. When we think of sensory input, we think of having 5 senses, which are sight, smell, hearing, taste, and touch. But do you think we can experience all the 5 senses using the media?
Probably.
Okay, so there are two. Next slide. Okay, so there are two important elements in the sensory experience of media, which are visual symbols and music and auditory symbols. Next. Okay, first is visual symbols. When we talk about visual, we know that one of the 5 senses involved is the sight. Harris, who is a professor that has conducted research on viewers' awareness of visual manipulation in movies and advertising, stated that visual images are persuasive because they seem realistic, serve as proof for arguments, and suggest arguments to the audiences, which means visual describes something that is seen. It can be a film clip or image used to illustrate a story or a message to persuade the audience. Next. Okay, now I want to ask you, what do you feel when you watch the pictures shown in the slides now?
Sad.
Yes, you feel sad, right? So by using techniques such as editing, camera angle, transitions, and special effect, persuaders are able to use film and video to persuade the audiences. These are actually three emotional scenes from 3 different dramas, but notice that by using similar editing techniques and camera angle, which they blur the background to focus more on the actors, we automatically understand what they are communicating. Next. So other than film and video, the internet also plays a very important role in persuading. First, we have graphical design, which include postcards, flyers, magazines, newspaper ads, posters, banners, billboards, infographics, and brochures. Next, we have broadcasting multimedia, such as audio and video. We also can experience events that take place far away, such as watching any football match online. And by using the internet, we also can communicate with others through various platforms such as WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and more. Next. Okay, now we will go to the second element, which is music and auditory symbols. Music is very common in our life as we listen to music almost every day. For example, when we watch horror movie, the music acts as a symbolic cue that something good or bad is about to happen. As for TV commercials, the music is used to stimulate customers to make purchasing decisions, as what Atin and Ili has explained before. And most of the time, a musical score with its music and lyrics can communicate messages to the audiences. Next. Okay, now we have Diana Selnau, a professor of strategic communication, explains her view about musical score, where she believes that musical score is related to emotion and it influences how we feel about the lyrics of a song. And she believes the function of musical score is to enrich the lyrical messages by communicating an emotional dimension or attitudinal stance. She also mentioned that quick tempo relates to the feelings of intensity, while slow tempo is a release. Next. Now I want to ask you, are you reminded of your childhood upon seeing these pictures? Yes, right.
Very much.
Yes.
So these nostalgic memories we experience now is very much related to Woodward's statement in the next slide. Next. So Woodward 2003 explains that our senses are constantly feeding us impressions that prompt memories of the past, moments we consciously reconstruct to be better or worse than the original experience, just like the example from the previous slide, which means that a persuader may use not only visual but music as a tool to associate our past with their product or services. Okay, now let's see the next example on the next slide. One interesting example of how sensory marketing can directly impact sales that I found comes from Dunkin' Donuts campaign in Seoul, South Korea. In this campaign, commuter buses in the city were outfitted with devices that released the aroma of fresh coffee whenever the Dunkin' Donuts jingle played over the radio. At the end of the jingle, the buses would stop close to a Dunkin' Donuts outlet. This strategy was a success, as I believe the Koreans must have felt nostalgic, as Dunkin' Donuts has always been in Korea since 1994. Plus the aroma of coffee itself can make us recall many memories of the past, right? So next. Now we have Winstead, Branston and Berg 2010. They explain that when image, dialogue, sound effects and music are combined into multimodal text, a chemical reaction seems to take place. The resulting whole is, if maybe not greater, certainly different than the sum of the parts, which means they agree that persuading is better when all the elements of media are combined. As an example is a video teaser from a business account, Turun Ferry. Mani, can you please play the video?
Yeah.
Okay. Uh, as you can see, this business account is trying to promote their new product by giving image teaser in a video form, and an interesting caption is added for their followers. Moreover, they also use background music that was in trend to attract their customers. So this type of advertising and persuading follows what Winstead, Branston and Berg has said about persuading, where image, dialogue or text and sound effects and music are involved. So I think that is all from me and from all of us. Thank you. Do you have any question?
Yeah, if there any question, you can ask us, everyone. Or yeah, like usual, we will ask you question and we will choose people. Anybody? Okay, no one? Okay, so we'll proceed to asking question. Oh, Najwa, yes. Yes, Najwa? Wait for Najwa. Okay, how media influence the people who have auditory problem. Okay, so I answer this. What I can say is that I guess it's actually on the media itself. Maybe they want to provide like a medium for people who have auditory problem. Okay, auditory, like people that can hear. As you can see, some television program like TV1, right? They have the people that do the signing in the news, in maybe some dramas, I think, but not all of that. But for the blind people, I guess I have never seen any television program that help the blind people. So yeah, that's one of the sad thing that we can see in our media today. But good question, Najwa. Thank you. At least it can give us awareness on how to help people with these problems, right? Okay, so next question. Oh, I hope I have answered your question, Najwa.
Hello, I have a question.
Yes, Alya?
Is social media considered as a channel or a media itself, in your
Social,
opinion?
anyone want to answer? Ini Atin or Farihah?
In my opinion, social media can act both as a channel and the what as the channel and the media
Media, right?
itself.
Yes.
because I believe we read lots of things right on social media which can influence us, like news or things that can change our perception on something.
Yes.
So yeah, any other
Okay.
question? Anybody a question?
Hi guys, can you hear me?
Yes, sure.
About the sensory experience of media, you said there are there are two of them, visual symbols and music and auditory symbols. In your honest opinion, which one do you think is the better one, or just both?
I think it is both, just like the Winstead, Branston and Burke has said, or when all the elements of media are involved, it is better to persuade. Hello?
Hello? Right, I got your answer. Thanks, guys.
Okay.
Oh wait, I'm sorry. I want to get back to Najih's question, which Najih asked about how media influence the people who have auditory problems. Sorry, I haven't really answered how media influence. So in my opinion, I think media don't really give a huge influence to people that have auditory problems. That's on my opinion. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Amnie.
Any other question? Okay, so I guess that's the end of our presentation. Thank you, everyone, and thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. So, you don't want to ask any questions to your classmates?
You don't mind, sir, if we take maybe one or two questions?
Yeah. Why not? If you have prepared.
So, Ili, Atin, maybe you want to ask them question?
Okay.
Okay, because I think they have already asked other questions, so maybe we just go on with two questions.
Yeah,
Maybe.
choose any of the two.
Okay, so I'll give like the very simple one. The first one. So can you give me one example of media audience? I've mentioned it before. So just one only. Anyone?
Can I answer it?
Yes, sure.
I think radio listener.
Yeah. Okay. Correct. Thank you, Mulyani.
Okay, the second question is, this is very something very simple. The answer is already stated in the slide. So what are the two claims regarding mediated reality by George Gardner? Anyone want to volunteer?
Hello? Hello?
It's Aisha, right? Oh,
Yes, Aisha Zamai.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
I remember one. That is often wrong because I remember you give the example about Muslim.
Yes.
Hello?
Hello, yes, So you answered mediated reality is
Okay,
often wrong, right?
wait. Yes. I remember that part.
Okay, thank you, Ain.
so yeah, I guess that's all because we just want to ask two questions.
Okay, but what's the other one? The claim by George Gardner.
Mediated reality is often a stable and repeating image, and ideally indicates the existence of commuted reality.
Okay, before we end, I just want to touch on one of the slides whereby you showed the majalah tiga.
Yes, sir.
Can you show that majalah tiga? What was the title?
Yeah, this one.
Your presentation. Okay.
Yes.
Media being an advocate. All right.
Yes.
Okay. So, are you trying to say all these in the picture, in the pictures, are depicting media as advocate? The programs here.
Yes. Because these are actually examples that I give myself because I have seen all of these programs. So yeah, in my opinion, I think they are advocate programs.
Okay, I just would like to add, sometimes it overlaps. For example, I think most of you know about Ellen, right? Ellen. Apart from advocating something, she's also trying to entertain the audience. Can we say that?
Yes.
So there's overlap between advocacy versus entertainment. So these kind of shows,
Okay.
actually, if we look at the underlying philosophy, I think it's more to entertainment, and they put advocacy as one of them. They want to attract an audience, actually, right? And even you see majalah tiga, and then what's the Rasul? Jimmy, what's that? The one in the middle, Jimmy what?
Jimmy Kimmel.
Okay, what kind of show is that?
He's actually, yeah, like you said, maybe like Alan, it's more into that entertainment, but he also kind of person that support a cause, like maybe donating to cancer research, like to for children, help children in what we call in unfortunate places or something like that.
So, yeah, that's one thing about media. We cannot really categorize them under one category specifically, right? Sometimes
Yeah.
it's internet, and sometimes it's more towards of this rather than the other one. Let's say, let's choose another one. Let's say, do you know Trevor Noah?
No.
You know Semayu?
Yes,
Mohamad
sir.
Haris.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Humaira, tell the others about Trevor Noah. What kind of show is that?
Trevor Noah. Trevor
Yes.
Noah. The Daily Show. The Daily
Yes.
Show, right, sir?
Yes. Okay.
Okay,
What kind of show is that?
It's a very informative show. He is a comedian, a South African comedian, but in that show he likes to touch upon sometimes like positive things and maybe current crisis, isn't it, sir?
Yes. I do watch bits and pieces of it. I think the whole show has so many segments. I think just like Ellen, sometimes they bring in entertainers, singers, actors, right? So that part is maybe the entertainment part, and then they bring maybe a doctor, lawyer, whatever, political person, and even in Trevor Noah show, he brought in Greta Thunberg one day to ask her to talk about climate change. So yeah, I think that's what media is all about nowadays. They want to attract audience. They want to put some advocacy, but they need to have the entertainment element there. Otherwise, you won't get much audience. Am I right? Yeah,
Yes, sir, you're right.
just like let's say the convocation at the university, any university nowadays, to attract the crowd, normally the convocation organizers, they would call upon entertainment artists to come, right? Bring a singer or pop band or whatever, bring BTS. I think it will be full of audience, right? But if you bring a professor or doctor to talk about, I don't know, child abuse, nobody would come, right? So the media to balance, because as you said, it's a profit-making organization.
Yes.
Just bring hot topics, informative topics, but no audience, you don't get any marketing done, right? And that's why, yeah, nowadays it's very tricky. I mean, to categorize under where media lies into. And yeah, with the internet, it's become more and more diverse, right? With YouTube marketing, Facebook marketing, and I'm not sure whether are there any Facebook marketers among you in your class?
Not me.
Anyone? Who markets on Facebook? Anyone among you guys? Don't be shy. Anyone? I'm sure there must be at least one
Sir,
or two.
I think most like probably on Instagram.
Okay, so you are Instagram, for example. Okay, so I'm not sure about Instagram, but now I'm more towards Facebook. I noticed the algorithm, meaning Facebook has managed to detect anybody who wants to market products on FB, they will sort of hide those posts. Meaning to say, if you post, please buy this product, and then you put the telephone number, blah blah blah, they will hide that post. So not many people will be able to see it. Unless if you want it to be shown, you have to pay, because FB is free, right? I think Instagram is also free. So if you use it to market things, you need to have sort of business account. So that's why, yeah, the media has changed, and they need to make money. Okay, one last thing. Who knows the media mogul in the world? There's a person called the media mogul, M-O-G-H-U-L, media mogul. Can somebody name that person? You know the meaning of mogul?
Yes, sir.
What's the meaning of mogul?
It's like someone like powerful, like
Yeah, like the king.
yeah.
Okay, so who is the media mogul in the world? There's only one person. The king.
Any hints?
Yeah. Yes?
Any hints?
Starting with the R. R. He's from, I think, Australia or England, I forgot. But he has so many media companies. Are you?
Rupert.
Yes.
Rupert
Rupert what?
Murdoch.
Rupert Murdoch.
I don't know how to pronounce.
Rupert Murdoch, sir. Rupert Murdoch.
Nurul Hamid.
Rupert Murdoch. In
Yes.
Australian America.
Yes. I think he owns Sky News. He owns so many newspapers. He owns so many TV channels. You name it. So it's a big business. He doesn't care about what kind of information is there, as long as he makes money. And who is the quote-unquote media mogul in Malaysia?
Who eh?
Sort of media mogul, but of course, definitely smaller than on smaller scale than Rupert Murdoch is Ananda Krishnan. Who knows Ananda? You don't know.
The age bukan suka hati tu.
Yeah, I think Akizi, he mentioned just now, Astro CEO. I think he owns not only Astro, I think Maxis also was under him. A few telecommunication stations, but Astro is under him, right? Making a lot of money. So notice, media, they need to attract people, so they have to not only have the sort of service kind of thing, but also the entertainment element to get numbers, to get audience. So I think we are approaching 12 o'clock. I think we're to end. Okay, one thing about the presenters. Good job with your examples. You showed some videos